We're trapped in a closet on Christmas with Santa trying to murder us.
Jason is my son, and today is his birthday. You have dinner with us. My brother makes good head cheese. Candyman, I get cheese. Candyman, Candyman. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hello and welcome to the final podcast, the last podcast you will ever listen to. We are the creators of the Spooky Pit, the innovators of the Passion Bump, and we are taking you down the darkest rabbit holes of all things horror.
We review horror movies and fuck them with humor. We are your final bros, Brian Hoppa LaGrasta and Shane. If you look deep inside, you won't like what you find, Smith. And we are joined as always by our Scream Queen, Jen Bell.
Hi.
Jen, the producer, Bell, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes, so happy late Christmas, happy holidays. I know we're past that now, but we got one more Christmas review for everyone.
3 days passed, but everybody hangs up their Christmas lights like months after Christmas is over, me being one of them.
No one makes it later than you. I think your tree was up till March.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I still have Christmas lights on from last year. We never took them down. We took the tree down in April.
Did you really?
It was April, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. I keep mine up till 3 Kings Day.
I think that's
Is that the 15th? I just honestly throw out a random number.
Whenever my mom tells me it is.
Most people keep their tree up, at least past New Year's anyway. So I'm assuming most people's trees are up. And now we're doing Santa's Sleigh, a movie I'm very excited to talk about.
Oh yeah. And I don't know if anybody watches like WWE like wrestler films. This is not a WWE films, I don't think. But if you watch films starring wrestling pros, this one stars one Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
You might have heard of him.
So he is a better actor and cuts better promos in this movie than he ever did in his entire wrestling career.
Yeah, if you're a wrestling fan and you haven't caught this one, oh my gosh, like watch it. It's fucking great.
Yeah. You get a side of Bill Goldberg you never thought you could see. Like, he's really funny in this movie.
He's great. Yeah. This movie was so funny.
It was. Like I said, we're going to get into the whole thing. As you know, we do a summary, synopsis, review, 1 to 10, 1 being a dumpster fire, 10 being a masterpiece, 5 being meh. Yeah, pretty much. But this movie, he plays demonic Santa Claus. There's no regular Santa Claus. There's just demonic Santa Claus. Yeah, this
Santa Claus is a very different backstory where Santa was always evil.
It's an interesting take, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely different. You want to just do it?
Well, I think the town that this takes place in is Hell's Township.
It takes place in a place in Canada, but they call the place Hell Township. Has to do with like the storyline later, which is so funny. But I was curious if there was like an actual place called Hell Township, and there is Hell Township, Michigan. And I was curious if there was any true crime there. And then I just like thought, why don't I look up Santa Claus murders? Because I was so curious. And there is a place in Georgia called Santa Claus, and this place is like to the nines. It is themed of Christmas. It's like nicknamed the city that loves children. It has like a ton of streets called Noel Street, Rudolph's Way, like the whole 9 yards. I wouldn't necessarily call him a family annihilator. His name was Jerry Scott Heidler, 20 years old, and he was visiting the home that I believe his biological sister was at. I'm not super familiar with this story, so obviously correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. You can get a ton more information about this crime on the Southern Fried True Crime podcast. They have a ton more information about it. But he essentially, like on December 4th, 1997, he basically slaughtered like the family in this house, which included like children, and it was just like a terrible time.
This was like around Christmas?
It was December 4th, 1997. Yeah, I'm not going to get into too much detail because this crime doesn't attribute to this film in any way, shape, or form. I just always like to find a crime that has to do with the movie. And this one happened to take place in Santa Claus, Georgia. But again, Southern Fried True Crime is a podcast that did a deep dive on this. They have a lot more information on this. So if you're interested in true crime, go over there. Tell them we said hi. But this movie, I felt like talking about murder was appropriate for the very beginning of this movie.
Oh, for sure. So let's jump right into the Spooky Pit.
Demonic Santa Claus lost a bet with an angel and must bring toys to kids and spread cheer. When the bet is over, he returns to his old ways. This film stars Bill Goldberg as Santa,
Got anything else?
I will not name another person. I am solely devoting this movie to Bill Goldberg. Actually, you know who else is in it? Emily D. Raven, who's in Lost, plays Claire.
Yes.
Which I thought was cool, seeing her. Actually, Lost came out a year before this.
So let's also throw out this. This movie also has Fran Drescher, James Caan, Chris Kattan, and the killer in Urban Legend.
In one scene, and it's the beginning.
That was Fran Drescher?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was rattling my brain. I was like, so familiar. Who are you? Your voice sounds so familiar. You have boobs. I can't figure out where you're from.
Yes. And the opening scene is bizarre. I love it. It's so awesome. Let's fucking do it.
Yes. So we open at the family Christmas dinner for the Mason family. James Caan is the father, head of the table. His wife is Fran Drescher. Then you have Chris Kattan as the boyfriend of their daughter, who is played by the killer in Urban Legend. I'm sorry, I don't know her actual name.
Me neither. I refer to her as Urban Legend
Who she is
killer.
sleeping with.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So she is sleeping with Chris Kattan. I'm assuming husband, boyfriend.
Yeah, I think that's implied that they're a husband.
Yes, but it's also implied that Chris Kattan is sleeping with her mother, Fran Drescher.
Oh, hell
That's what I meant.
Because he is feeling up her leg in this scene.
Yeah, that's
And-
for sure.
It's my passion bump.
That's fair.
Oh, it
It
is
has
such
to
a
be.
passion bump. He nearly just like credit card swipes her.
Exactly. She is super into it.
Yeah.
Passion bump. Passion bump. Passion bump.
So Fran Drescher is telling the killer from Urban Legend that she's teaching her kids family values. They're getting Kate Spade bags this year. They're not going for the Vuittons.
Yes. Also, I'll point out there are two other daughters in this scene. I don't know who they are, and they're not important.
So one thing
Just know they're there.
you mentioned Chris Kattan's character is an unfaithful husband, and apparently from James Caan we find out that Fran Drescher's character, her cooking tastes like a shoe,
Mhm.
and James Caan, he wants his bird to be moist, but Franny tells him that his foreplay is not moist, but he doesn't want to screw the turkey. He wants to eat the turkey.
Yes. They do grace, which it's beautiful. One of the girls says, "Thank you for not making us poor or Samoan." Okay.
Did you get all of it? I was curious if you guys got all of it.
All of the grace?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get all the grace. I was so distracted by when Fran puts potatoes on Chris Kattan's plate and he feels her up under the table. I think he got a lot of that. And I think he might like those legs more than the potatoes.
Yeah. What else?
One.
Do you know what else was in the grace?
No, it was just like, thank you for making us rich. And for all the poor people, they need to work harder.
Oh my God.
I was trying to not laugh out loud. I was like, I can't laugh where I am. It's inappropriate. But God, I am on the verge of tears. It was cracking me up so much.
That's why I'm glad I watched this at home, because I was laughing the entire time at this scene.
This movie should be more popular than it is. It really should be. It is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, 1000%. I don't know why. I think it has like a 5.5 star rating on IMDb. I don't know why it doesn't have at least 6 or 7.
I'm with that. It seems like a movie that could be like a 6, 7-ish area, because it's a comedy horror, delivers both good kills, good laughs. So as this is going on, they hear a little rumbling, and Santa just bursts through the chimney. I mean like the Kool-Aid man.
The chimney explodes.
First thing he does is punt a dog into a fan.
Punts the dog. Fran Drescher does her best Fran Drescher impression. It is
The Fran Drescher like nanny laugh comes out. She's like, Santa.
just the smile. She's like,
She's the best.
I love Fran Drescher.
she's great. Let's talk about Fran Drescher. Shane loves Fran Drescher so much that one night we asked if he would do a Fran Drescher pact, and he did it.
And
I'm
this
a man of my
entails-
word.
And this entails.
I'm going to throw it all out on the line.
I appreciate it.
We have what we call in our friend group a smack pack.
Jen, we have a smack pact. You got that?
Mhm.
It's kind of like a pinky like agreement where that night we all have to go home and smack one off.
You know what that means? We jerk off.
I can guess. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
So we have the
Yeah.
smack pack, and everyone has to abide by the rules.
Do you go home and do it, or do you do it all together?
No, see, we don't do it all together. We all go home, and it's an honor system.
No, that was high school.
From the sound of it, when we talked with Mike recently, it sounds like you're all open to watching Shane. So
Yeah, that's never happened. They want it to.
Yeah, I like to watch.
Yeah.
And I like to eat while I watch. Tostitos chips.
Yes.
I like the crunch.
He wants
Shane's doing his thing.
Yeah, it's never happened.
You
It's
like a good
dream of his.
taquito?
Oh my god. Yeah, so with this movie, they made me do a smack pack to Fran Drescher, and I'm a man of my word, and I did it.
She looks good.
She does.
So
she's a
if
good-looking
she's
girl.
on screen, you have to.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Oh, okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah.
She's worth it. I think
Gorgeous
it's worth
woman.
saying right here because we just introduced Bill Goldberg. He portrays Santa, but he is an observant Jew. And he goes as far as to famously refusing to work on the Jewish high school holidays during his football and wrestling days. So he's a very devout Jew.
Good for him.
Also, a majority of this cast is Jewish.
They are, which is hysterical that they're in a
Yeah.
Christmas film.
It is, but it also it's good to see like different
I love
religions
it.
kind of.
I like it. Yeah.
It's some good unity there. I mean,
Oh, I absolutely adore it. I thought it was amazing that they got a Jewish guy to play Santa, and he did a great job.
yeah.
he's
Sonic
awesome.
Santa.
Honestly, I expected the worst because he's not the greatest at cutting promos, like she mentioned in wrestling. So like I expected the worst, and he just nailed this.
Yeah.
They
he
kept
was
his
perfect.
character very surface level, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
So the dog has been punted. Fran Drescher sang Santa with a laugh. So now James Caan gets both of his hands stabbed into the table with the forks. And like everyone is screaming.
Oh my God, the daughters are screaming. He looks and growls at one, and she just fucking passes out.
Yes. And she falls where a chair leg pierces her neck.
Yeah.
You didn't have to work for that one.
No. Santa flamethrowers Fran Drescher's head.
Hair and scalp are burning.
Yes.
Chris Kattan starts doing karate.
It's so Chris Kattan. I love Chris Kattan. I love his karate thing. It makes me think I'm like watching Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah, seriously, Chris Kattan, he's doing his thing. Right when he's done, he just gets kicked into a wall.
It like directly into the wall.
Breaks the wall unit, glass everywhere.
Then he just like he hits the girl from Urban Legend in the head with like a chair, instantly killing her now.
Oh my God, yeah. She knocks her right in the head. And then I'm pretty sure he takes Fran Drescher's nearly burned off scalp, takes her head, and just puts it in a bowl of eggnog. That's eggnog, right?
Yeah, he drowns her in the eggnog.
Yeah, man.
And then the other unnamed girl is starting to run away, and he takes the star off the tree and ninja stars it into her back.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
the opening.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing,
Oh,
because now he takes the turkey leg
right.
and he shoves it down James Caan's throat and then slams it into the table.
It's like the drumsticks like hanging out of
Yeah.
his mouth. So when he does it, it's like it's going to come in the back of his throat, like pop out.
And just
Yeah.
like that, they save their budget by writing off every named actor in the movie.
Yeah,
And James
literally.
Caan is uncredited in this movie.
Yes.
He
I
should
don't-
be in this. This movie's great.
Yeah. So basically, all the big actors we named that are in this movie are dead now.
That is correct.
And the movie's been going on for 5 minutes.
Legend.
Not even. When the killing started, we were like 2 minutes in.
Us describing it doesn't even do it justice how funny this scene
It's
is.
hilarious. I think it starts when like he busts in and just punts the dog
Yeah.
like right into the fan.
Because then right there, you know what kind of movie you're in for. It's
It was
awesome.
fantastic. I was having the best time. This
Yeah.
is just what I needed after Black Christmas.
100%. What a palate
I
cleanse.
think we all needed something after that. So now they get the title screen, and the opening credits are actually it's like revealed through a book, and the book's telling the story of demonic Santa who lost a bet to an angel who made him a toy giver. I think from like starting from like the year 1245 or something like
Yeah.
that. And now the scene's going to transition to Hell Township on Christmas Eve.
And we're opening in Mr. Green's Deli. And once again, we go right into a funny scene because there's this old woman who is just berating them over the price of this deli sandwich.
Yeah, you got this like 16-year-old kid. His name's Nicholas, and he's having a hard time servicing her. So he will eventually be assisted by the owner, Mr. Green. She's complaining about Nicholas's crackpot grandfather, who we'll hear about through the whole film because everyone thinks he's a psychopath. And
This woman
she's
is
looking
just
for the
miserable.
senior citizen discount. She is.
Yes.
She's like bah humbug kind of woman.
And yet she's yelling at you to say Merry
she's looking for-
Christmas.
Yeah, she is.
Oh my God. Yeah, I actually think I wrote it down. She has a line where he says happy holidays to her. And she's like, don't give me this PC political bullshit. It's Merry Christmas.
So there's two people I kind of hate. It's the people that are like, they won't say Merry Christmas. And then it's the people that are calling people out. Like, you need to say Merry Christmas. Like, and she's just miserable. She's like one of those nasty people.
Yeah, like this guy obviously is Jewish because he does have a menorah in his like shop. So if he's saying happy holidays, he's probably just saying that because he doesn't celebrate Christmas, not because he has any malicious intent behind it.
This woman's just a bitch.
Exactly. Exactly.
Chill out. As she's leaving, and he gives her a deal. He goes from 475 to 450 on her roast beef. Great guy, nice guy. She's leaving. Calls the girl from Law. He
calls her a whore.
Yeah. So she's working. She's leaving. He goes, what a fucking whore. And then she leaves. Yeah.
And all that girl's doing, isn't she just like brooming something? Or
Cleaning.
like,
she's a 16-year-old girl
cleaning.
Just a ridiculous character, but it was so funny because everyone at that shop was just laughing at her. It was great.
Yeah.
We go to her and she's driving in her car and her car is being chased by Santa in his sleigh. And now what I can only describe as a buffalo reindeer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bison.
I had it as a bison, like a white bison, or is it regular?
I think it's white.
I think it's white, right?
Occasionally, its nose would glow red.
Oh, that's
because
awesome.
they do call it a reindeer in the movie.
Call it a hell deer.
Yes, hell deer. The buffalo runs this car off of the road and it blows up.
Yeah. I mean, like her car goes like it does a flip and then it's just like caught in the snow and it's just like on fire.
The majority of movie, we're
So
not
she's
even
gone.
interacting with the Santa yet. It's just him running around killing people.
So we cut back to the deli. The older man, Mr. Green, is giving out gifts and he gives the girl a snow globe.
From Wisconsin. I think she got one from a previous state, like before, like it was like Delaware or something.
And he gives the boy a clock. But this isn't any ordinary clock. This clock can tell the time in every single time zone.
You can tell he's like super unhappy that he got this clock. But like throughout the movie, it kind of like helps him, but then really it kind of doesn't help him if you think about it.
It's kind of funny. Also, at this point, we learn the main characters' names are Nick and Mac. And this is also where you do learn they're in Hell Township.
It's interesting to name the main character Nick, though, because St. Nicholas.
If you notice, his whole name is Nick Yulson.
Yeah.
So like Yuletide and like, it's funny because his grandpa hates Christmas, but his whole name is nothing but Christmas references.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
So Mac and Nick are driving away and they listen to Christmas rap.
It's nice. It's a nice touch.
I didn't know it
It's a good track.
existed.
I didn't either.
Run DMC.
Honestly, I thought it was Marky Mark singing this. That's what it sounded like. I'm sure Mark Wahlberg doesn't actually have a Christmas rap, but you never know.
She also notices Nicky. He's not into the Christmas spirit.
No, he's not. He's a Grinch.
Because he always ends up with like, I don't know, an easy bake oven or something like that.
Which I like that they drop this line in because we learn something about that. Because he says, who wants an easy bake oven?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, Nicky boy. Mac drops off Nick. And this is where you learn he has keys hidden everywhere on his porch to unlock 17 locks.
Is it 17? I thought it was like 1,400.
I lost count, so you're probably right.
Not to mention
But
the
he
one
does
on the
get in.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of calls around for his grandfather in the house, nowhere to be found. And then the power goes out. So he goes to grab a flashlight and heads to the basement. After looking around, he's startled because there's a hand on his shoulder. And it's his grandfather. He mentions I think he turned the power off to change a light bulb in his new bunker.
So this grandpa has an underground bunker, which, you know, that's the thing people do.
He's a
completely understandable.
doomsday prepper kind of guy.
Exactly.
His character.
Like
Like a
he's such
size
a
bunker.
doomsday prepper that he has a bunker and he has a nutcracker that shoots bullets.
Shoot some like fire rocket chestnuts.
Grandpa like mentions the bunker. He shows Nick the bunker right in this scene.
Yeah.
We cut to Santa Claus, Bill Goldberg Santa Claus, ringing like the bell, like Salvation Army. And he's ringing the bell. And I love this scene. Someone like comes up to try to mug him, but they are mugging the wrong Santa.
They definitely are, because he quickly grabs his arm, breaks it, I think, in 2 different spots, destroys this guy's arm. He was like sharpening a candy cane through the scene in his mouth. So he takes that sharp candy cane and jams it in his eye, which would probably kill him at that point if it hits the brain.
If there's one thing I've learned from Black Christmas 06, you can kill a man with a candy cane.
But he does ram his face into a brick wall, throws him in the dumpster, and that's the end of that guy.
If there's one thing I learned from Black Christmas 06, you dispose of the body in the dumpster. See, Black Christmas 06 wasn't that bad. It kind of, showed things.
It was really bad.
It was bad.
To each their own. We cut back where Grandpa is saying there's no reason to commercialize Santa, that Santa is not this lovable person that everyone makes him out to be.
He's having the conversation with his grandfather, I would refer to, and this is the Christmas conversation. I believe in his room, he opens a safe and he takes out a large book. And he thinks this is a Necronomicon.
Cringe.
I was so tilted when he misspoke the word Necronomicon.
Yeah. A Necronomicon. It's not like
Instant regret.
the last part is the easiest part to pronounce.
Con. Yes. That was cringeworthy. It was pretty cringy. Rockin' amazing movie so far, and he mispronounces Necronomicon, and it just tilts everybody.
Yeah.
But whatever. Nicholas notices a medal that his grandfather has, and it says for a lifetime of service, right?
Yes.
So he thinks he's like he served in the military or something, but tells his
How does he
grandfather
like
didn't
not know this?
Yeah, I know. I guess his grandfather just doesn't open up. I don't know.
I mean, these are parts of the movie where it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, there's holes, but
There is, which is why it's not like we're not saying this is a perfect movie. We're just saying it's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
You know, he tells his grandfather, he's like, I didn't know you were in the military. And he's like, I wasn't. He has the Book of Claws here. It's been with their family for countless generations. Grandfather starts to read the book. He reads it in Norse, but Nicholas prefers he reads it in English. And his grandfather tells him that he needs to start practicing his Norse more, get more versed in that.
It's true. He should. It's always good to be bilingual.
So if you're reading Norse, what is that? That's like Scandinavian?
I took it as, it's like those like
Norway,
Sweden kind of talk, maybe like Viking-ish.
Gotcha. Tells Nikki, Sane had a baby with Virgin Erica and their son was Santa. On the anniversary of his birth, there were a great number of unexplained deaths and murders. The day became known as the Dag of Mord or the Day of Slayings. When this day came around, Christians would hold something called a Christ Mass.
Mm-hmm.
And one of God's angels took the form of a man, and then he gets interrupted by a doorbell. He goes to answer it while Nicholas is kind of reading the book. And even at this point, like looking in the book, you actually see the bison in the book.
Yes,
right?
you do.
Mhm.
Yes, you do.
I love the way that the grandpa answers when Nick is like, "Were you in the military?" And he's like, "No." And that's
Yeah.
it. It's my favorite way to answer.
I love he gives no like reasoning.
Explanation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's very mysterious.
Mac is at the door, and she comes bearing food, some leftover Wolverine.
This is actually hilarious. It's a gift from her dad, and it's a plate of Wolverine. And when the grandpa like opens the tinfoil a little to like look at it, it looks like festering fur.
It's got flies around it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
pretty gross.
I love this girl. Like, she's great. She can
Yeah.
she can get
I
shit
love
done.
all the characters.
Well, he doesn't. She has to do it for him.
Yeah.
She actually makes a joke. She's like the joke about like her making like all the
Moves, yeah, which is actually pretty funny later on. I'm gonna say this. She gets Nick a gift as well.
It's a gun.
Yes. So I'm gonna say the line because it's absolutely incredible. She gives him the gun, and he looks at it, and he's like, "I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but what are you fucking retarded?" And that caught me so off guard. I was like, "Whoa!" And
That was
then
great.
she basically's like, "Look at it," and it's like a transformer.
I will
likes
say though, she
Transformers.
comes from a family of hunters, so I don't think that was weird for her if she
No.
actually gifted him a gun. I don't know why he's like freaking out so much. I mean, I guess like because he doesn't come from a family of hunters, but she just literally brought a dead raw animal to his house that her dad shot down.
Yeah, that's why if it was really a gun, you're right. It would have been totally appropriate in this situation.
It would have been pretty normal. The scene's in a shift to a pastor. He's telling his congregation to dig deep in their pockets for charity. Meaty bills he wants, not coins, for the offering. After the service, pastor stops by a club. He like literally walks in the club. He's like, "Oh yeah, nice." This movie's ridiculous, man.
It is because as soon as he's in the club, Santa pulls up in his sleigh with bison deer. The valet attempts to park it, but it instantly takes off,
Yeah.
and the valet like falls over.
The bouncer starts getting a little physical with demonic Santa when he tries to get in the club, and he ain't having it. So demonic Santa just rocks him in the face.
Yeah, and then he like kind of chokes him out with a Christmas wreath.
He enters the club.
I love this scene.
Good old Pussy Town's playing on the jukebox. He yells ho ho ho's, and then he just takes a waitress by the hair and hooks up with her.
I mean, he's Santa. He can do what he wants, I guess. He's full of Christmas cheer. Oh,
And,
God.
and this is my thing, Jen, and we brought it up last week. This is a forced thing, but it's under the mistletoe.
At least you're consistent.
No consent
Okay.
given, but he's under the mistletoe. Whatever.
So one thing
Let's move on.
one thing I will point out, I'm still trying to get over the whole mistletoe thing.
He does obey some
go.
Christmas rules.
Yeah, he does.
does.
He points up to it. He's just smiling. He's like,
Yeah, it's honestly hilarious. One thing I wanted to point out about this scene, now that I'm not laughing, is that in this strip club is Goldberg's real life wife, who he met on set of this movie.
That's correct.
Which I thought was...
That's great.
Yep, and they're still married to this day.
That's awesome.
So,
love to hear that.
Even if people didn't like this movie, something very positive came out of it. True love.
So security comes over and, he's going to wreak some havoc here. He takes Christmas lights, wraps them around this guy. And I don't really know what happens, but he flings them and the guy just like stabs himself with his own knife, right? Like it's super weird.
I mean, there's just murder everywhere in this scene. Like he kills a bartender with a pickaxe.
Yeah. And I think at this time, like the pastor's like taking all the money and like shoving it into his pockets, like all the tips.
Yes. He electrocutes someone with the stripper pole, which Jen pointed out to me, which I didn't notice, is that Goldberg wipes down the pole before he uses it.
He sanitizes it. Probably has
Yeah.
COVID.
Oh, it was. I was cracking up that he looks at the pole, does like the gym thing where you go to like sanitize machine, like when you're done or right before you use it, and he just sprays, wipes it down, picks it up, and proceeds to beat someone with it. And I was like, that's the best thing I've seen all day.
It's just like the little things about this movie, just wiping down a stripper pole before you literally beat a man and then electrocute him with it. Basically, once all the guys are dead, he sees like the strippers like looking at him.
They're hiding.
Yes. So he takes out a piece of coal, blows on it to get the like fire in it, and he says naughty and rolls it and sets the place on fire.
I felt so bad for all of them. I was like, these girls probably don't even want to be here. They're just trying to get by and like make a dime or whatever. And you just like set them on fire with all the guys.
I hope they got out of there. I don't think
They didn't. I mean, I'm taking it based off of, there's literally a eulogy coming up about all of them passing away, which is also funny when he starts mentioning all their names, like Tess Tickler.
Yeah. So Santa leaves the club, right? And he gets a good laugh because his reindeer bison is gagging up the valet guy's hat.
Like I said, these little things that are just so funny about this movie.
Back at Nicholas's house, his grandfather is going to bed. And he's got the whole couch to himself to make the moves on Mac, but he decides to start an argument instead.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. I was so confused.
Okay, hear me out. This movie was ahead of its time. It knew Black Christmas 2019 would do a black goo thing, so they're slowly having the black goo seep into his mind, so he becomes very aggressive in this scene.
Oh my God. I can't believe you incorporated goop into this movie.
I'd appreciate if you would leave that movie out of this movie. I actually like this movie.
To be fair, I will never mention it again.
Thank you.
Fair enough, Shane.
Request accepted.
He starts an argument because he like kind of like goats her into like thinking that like his grandfather's a psycho, and she's like, dude, like what's wrong with you? Like mature. And then she like leaves.
Yeah, she's 100% right. Like here.
Yeah.
Fucking grow up. I got you guys Wolverine. You're not going to eat it? I'm out of here.
Yeah, she also got him a Transformer that he had just literally mentioned is what he always wanted.
She's a great girl. I mean, what the fuck's wrong with this kid?
I have no idea. That was really dumb. I was so confused why he just started fighting. I was like, I don't understand how this progresses the story if she just needs to get out of there. Like,
yeah, that's essentially what this is. It's just so she's in a different location at this point in time, I think.
Yeah, like he's like super ashamed of his grandfather, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I took it as too.
And like he's angry because she doesn't feel that way. And like, I'm like, okay, whatever.
When she leaves though, you see Santa's sleigh flying around in the background, which I thought was a neat touch. And then we cut to the grandpa working on the Nutcracker in the basement. Because then it's Nick going to read the story through the book again.
Yeah, that's right.
And his grandpa has this like auto page flipping machine because his grandpa's an inventor. Like he's like Tommy Pickles' dad in Rugrats. He just takes the book out himself and starts flipping the pages to read the story.
Yeah, and then a flashback is going to ensue. It's like a stop motion flashback almost.
Which I like this scene a lot. Because it's shot in the style of how like Rudolph and like I can't think of what the other one's called. The other
Frosty?
Yes, Frosty the Snowman. Yeah. It's shot in like those styles.
Yeah, or like a Tool music video. So this is how the story goes. God called down an angel from heaven, and the angel took the form of an old man. He saw Santa ice fishing with the ornery little folk, or the elves. And the angel knew demonic Santa was a gambler, so he challenged him to a little game. Who can slide the rock closest to the ice fishing hole without it falling in the actual hole? The wager was, if Santa won, the old man would go to hell and suffer. If the old man won, Santa would have to stop the killing and turn the day of slangs into a day of joy. And Santa was so confident, he's like, I'm going first. So he slides the rock and it goes right next to the hole, but doesn't go in, but it goes right in front of the hole. Because now the old man's going to slide the rock, and his just grazes Santa's rock and makes Santa's rock slide right into the hole, making the old man win. And he just slowly walks away a winner while Santa Claus is breathing fire.
Do they mention or do they not mention that this was only for 1,000 years?
They do mention that because in this very moment, Nick realizes this happened exactly 1,000 years ago. So now Nick knows, he's like, oh shit, Santa's like bad again.
The bet is over.
Yes. So yeah, that is why Santa is now kicking ass.
I am surprised that Nick so quickly just believes this story.
I know, right?
Well,
I know.
I'm going to chalk it up to this. This movie is an hour and 17 minutes. They got to move the plot.
Yeah,
That's true.
Could have made it a little longer, but it didn't really have to be. The charm of the movie was how the kills were really good and it had like a kind of a good flow.
That's why I think this movie being an hour and 17 minutes is why it's so good.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't bullshit you. It just, this is what it is. Enjoy.
Yeah.
I would have preferred that instead of him believing that right off the bat, if he just saw Santa kill someone.
That would have been a good idea. Like he sees like maybe the Santa kill the guy at like when he was ringing the bell or something like that.
So Nicky's going to go on to, I think this is one of his grandfather's inventions, the Santa tracker.
No, that's an actual thing.
I know it's a real thing. I just thought this specific thing was invented by his grandfather.
Oh, it's possible. I actually, that I don't know.
It would also make a lot of sense.
What I do want to mention is that this movie has one of my favorite ways of getting around branding rights for things for movies is he goes on the website Yuha to search it.
Yeah, so he asked in the chat of the Santa tracker, is this real? The chat's like, first, how old are you? He goes 16. And the chat's like, no, and neither is Santa. And this is why I think it was his grandfather's invention, because when he's going to sleep, he says something. He's like, oh, my fucking grandfather. And then he just goes to bed. So I don't know.
And when he wakes up, it's Christmas Day.
Yeah. And you see a few kids are in their house with their family. They're having a great old time. These are great. This is a great family. They're very loving. Mm-hmm. Kids ask when they can open up their motherfucking gifts.
Their grandma's like, what the hell?
And their mom's like, yeah, of course, let's start opening. And then the gifts blow up. You ever have gifts blow up on you? Absolutely incinerate upon opening?
No, because these kids don't have heads anymore. And that hasn't happened to me yet.
I know this looks really bad, but it kind of works like with the Cornish style of this movie. Like you see their bodies, they're like burned. They look like bottles, like giant bottles with like smoke coming out of their heads.
Yeah. Like you said, it's because of the style of the movie. Since it's strictly going comedy route, it works. Like if this is trying to be a more serious movie, this would look absolutely out of place and stupid.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the grandma's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She is.
So then we cut to the scene I was mentioning earlier, the pastor giving the sermon, the eulogy for the deceased strip club workers, where he mentions their names. Testicular,
Crystal Candy, Sierra Rain, Dixie Wrecked.
Just stellar names.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like Gold Member, like.
Oh
yes.
my God, yes.
The name of the place was Gold Diggers, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good too. So from there, now we go back to Mr. Green's Deli. And who's his next customer?
Santa.
Yeah.
He's banging on the glass.
It's closed.
It's Christmas. It's closed. He's like, you should know that more than anybody. But he continues to bang on the glass. And then he breaks through the glass door, turns the sign to open, kicks it open, puts down his hat, and Mr. Green jumps into action. He's like, you picked with the wrong deli, fatso.
So Bill Goldberg does his patented spear through the deli counter.
Through the deli glass counter. Yes. Love it.
Spears him into the wall, holds him up, and then pins him through the wall, through his neck with a menorah.
Literally jams it right through there.
Because you don't see the shot of the menorah through him yet, but as Goldberg's walking, you see him like still elevated on the wall.
He's pinned to the wall.
Kind of like in Halloween.
Yes.
That's like the same exact kind of shot.
Mm-hmm. But then like as he's about to leave, he does fix himself some potato salad, I think it is.
He does. And then he bumps into, they were either Amish
I do want to mention
or Hasidic Jews.
Yeah, right before he leaves, though, he does see a photo on the wall of Mr. Green,
He does.
Nicholas, and the grandfather together. So he grins because he's going after them next.
And then, like I said, he goes out. So are these people Amish or Hasidic Jews?
I think they're Jews.
And I'm only asking because they're called Amish later in the movie.
A guy makes a reference. I think they're Hasidic Jews.
It's just a joke, right? He's calling them Amish. I'm assuming that's what it was.
I think so.
Yeah.
One of the guys' names is Slow-Mo. No, I'm just saying. Like that's,
yeah, no, I'm just laughing at the name. So from there, we go back, and Nick is in just a convenience store, general store, I'm assuming.
Yeah, general store if you're south of the border, convenience store if you're in the Northeast.
Okay. So now this might be a rewrite, or it might just be actually what this movie was going for. The man that's working in the convenience store has to be the big guy who steals bikes from Friday. Did you ever see Friday with Chris Tucker?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the guy who's like the big bully of the block that steals bikes. Is that actually supposed to be him now getting an honest living? Because in all seriousness, he's literally the same character, except making an honest living, working in a general store. And I'm making this connection because after he sells the kid gum and the kid doesn't take his change, he smirks like he's still stealing money, like he's in Friday. And I want to know if that's an actual connection to Friday.
I don't know. But this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Because he got no gum in the shop because Nikki wants gum, but he's got this smoking gum. And Nikki takes it because it sounds hot. And I like how you use the words hot because we're all about being hot on the final podcast.
That is true, hot boy. I was kind of confused. For some reason, like the conversation between those two, I thought that the convenience store guy was going to come back around. Like I thought for a second the convenience store guy was going to be the angel.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
And since he never comes back around, that's why I think he's literally just the guy from Friday, and it was like a joke.
That's funny. You're probably
Could have
right.
been. Are you going to Google it?
I should.
There's a little backstory on him. He just moved into town recently. Too much violence in the hood.
Dude, it has to be him. Now that he said that, because he literally was in the hood, but he was the violence in the hood.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, Nikki overhears on the radio that there was vandalism at the store that he works at. I forgot that. Is it Heaven Sent?
I just called it Mr. Green's Deli.
It's his deli.
It's a great question.
He leaves and he bikes over there. And he walks under the broken door and he sees Mr. Green, like Shane mentioned, pinned to the back wall with the menorah stuck to his throat. Obviously, this is a rough scene for him. He tries to pull out the menorah. This is something you definitely don't do, but he's a 16-year-old kid. So he tries to pull out the menorah.
Because now his fingerprints are all over that menorah.
And Mr. Green's still alive.
Yeah, this is clearly just there for like shock comedic purposes.
He goes, Nikki, there is a Santa Claus. And then he dies. And the police are there.
They're basically, so what the hell do we have here?
This guy's just making bad jokes after bad jokes. You got a real festival of lights going on over here.
The cops take Nick in for questioning, and they say, we're also taking in this Amish group, which is the Hasidic Jews from earlier.
Yeah, they spoke outside. Shlomo mentioned this. He saw somebody in a Santa suit outside the store.
So rude.
At the police station, Nick calls Mac. He's like, I need you to come and pick me up. I'm here for questioning right now. And then Nick goes to the captain, which the captain's name in this movie is literally Captain Caulk. And he's trying to tell the captain how Santa Claus is real and he's out there killing people. And is this guy playing the captain the like butler from Rat Race?
Is that him?
It looks like him.
Oh, it might be.
Like every time they're like doing bets, like with the rich people of Rat Race, he's the one who's like collecting the money for. I think that's him.
Wow.
Which I'm gonna look up while you talk because I'm super curious.
Yeah, it's funny. This whole conversation is really funny because he's trying to convince a guy that definitely doesn't believe his ridiculous stories. Like this is something that predates all of us. He hands him the clock that he got as a gift from Mr. Green, and Captain's like, "This is a nice clock, but why should I care what time it is in Greenwich?" He's like, "Well, first of all, it's the North Pole's time zone, and this is the same as the Greenwich Mean Time, 7 p.m. when all the madness should end, and Christmas would be over for Santa. Maybe."
He figured that out real quick.
He doesn't really know much about the way the world works, but he knows this. And the captain ain't buying it. And when Nicky brings up his grandfather, he's like, "That's all I need to hear. Get out of here, kid." And he kicks this kid can pretty much get out of anything as long as he brings up his grandfather, because the grandfather's basically been shunned from Hell's Township. So he discounts everything he says. He kicks him out. Outside the captain's office, there's two cops, and they're discussing the pattern of killings. One of them looks at a bulletin of they trace killings, and they trace it with these little green markers, and he's like, oh my God, it's shaped in a Christmas tree. We got the Christmas tree killer. I bet his next kill is going to be where the star is on the top of the tree.
No. He's the parallelogram killer. This clearly is a parallelogram. I can't even say the word.
That was just such a nice touch. Like, that was so funny. I would have actually loved if he pointed at like the star and was like, I bet his next kill will be here. And they're like, that's where we are.
Yeah, that actually would have been good. So I looked it up. I am an idiot. The pastor is actually that guy from Rat Race.
Oh,
I mixed them up.
Oh, wow.
It was the pastor. So
That's really funny. Your daughter wouldn't have gotten it wrong.
Love it.
I can't keep saying I don't have a daughter because everyone knows this. So I'm just going to start letting this slide.
Shane's a dad.
So the next scene is
They go back to the police station, and there's banging on the captain's door, and he's like, this better be good. And then Santa comes in, he's like, ho, ho, ho. He comes in with a taser. He grabs and lifts the captain off his feet. I think he tases his balls.
He does.
Or his gooch. He goes right in there.
because he's Captain Cock. He tases his cock. Play on words.
And I think he leaves the captain's office, and there's literally like dead bodies everywhere.
What I love about this scene is the guy who had the Christmas tree theory is pinned to the board with the Christmas tree pattern in his chest.
Yeah. And the other guy is just like dead on the floor with like the white tape around him.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't tell. There was a third cop in the back. It's like at the desk, but he just looked like a guy that's just like sitting over like.
Yeah. I thought he wasn't dead.
I have a theory that he's asleep and didn't know any of this happened.
I think so too.
He would have gotten off very lucky.
He'd be the only person Santa came across but didn't kill.
I dead ass like paused it and was just staring at him, and I was like, I can't tell if you're dead or not.
I truly think he was sleeping.
Could you imagine waking up and just being like, the fuck?
It's like, wow, I'm either getting fired or I'm the captain now.
That's right. Oh my God, that's right. He wiped out their entire police station.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
He's like, it must be the Christmas tree killer.
Nick getting picked up by Mac. They're in the car, right? At this point.
Yeah, they're in the car.
And they see that a cop is now trying to pull them over again. And I think Max says it. Oh, Captain Cock is really after you, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
So when they pull over, it ain't Captain Cock.
No, it ain't.
It's Santa himself.
Oh, yeah.
So they just floor it. Santa is now, he is jumped on the hood of this car. And Mac is like, get my gun. And it's like under his like butt. Like he was sitting on this shotgun. He's like, has no clue how to load it. So like Jen said earlier, she is like while driving and not even looking, explaining word for word how to load this gun.
I love it. Yeah.
Mac is a boss.
Yeah, she's giving him like these terminologies. She's like, put the shells in, like, she's like, the bullet's in the hole.
She's driving, evading friggin' Santa who's on the car. She has to tell him how to reload a gun. This kid's fucking useless.
He really is. And like later his grandpa, what does his grandpa refer to him as? Like, I didn't raise a
Sally.
I didn't raise a Sally. I was like, yes, tell him, Grandpa, because she's doing everything in this relationship.
Literally everything.
Mac speeds up and then brakes really hard. So he falls back into the bed. And then when he gets up from there, that's when Nick shotguns him and he falls off the truck. And then they go back to Nick's house to get to Grandpa.
Do you think it was ironic that they had a shotgun and he was riding a shotgun?
I like it. I like it a lot.
I tried something there.
This movie loves wordplay. I'm into it.
I think we all are.
Boner checks for everybody on
the comedy aspect?
On the wordplay?
I'm here for it.
I'm in it. I'm with it.
Yeah. Smack pack tonight?
Oh my God. So they're back at the house.
you already took Fran. I don't have anyone left.
Yeah.
Chris Kattan's karate wasn't doing it for you?
Oh my God, like he's in Corky Romano.
He's total Corky, for sure.
I feel so bad for Chris Kattan because of like all the back problems he has now. Like he can't like act anymore.
He is so funny.
Because he had like I think it's like 4 or 5 major back surgeries. It's why he doesn't do movies. But prime Chris Kattan was so funny.
He's like, I'm not really a fan of like rambunctious comedians that are like really like out there, but he had a way with it. He's so funny. Like, where's the Night of the Roxbury?
Night of the Roxbury.
Fucking
him
classic.
And Farrell are so good. I honestly, Corky Romano is a funny movie. I like it.
It's got like this dry voice too.
Yeah.
This is really funny.
And then you put him in a movie like House on Haunted Hill, which I like him in that movie.
Yeah.
Which is a horror movie we will talk about one day.
We'll see.
So we are back at the house and they are looking for Grandpa.
And they meet him in the bunker. Nikki finally acknowledges, like, oh my God, you're right about the day of slayings. He's like, were you guys followed by Santa? And Mary's like, well, Nicky shot him. He's like, it'll be midnight in 3 hours and 8 minutes. And in the bunker, he's got like the TV set up. So they see like Christmas carolers that are coming up to the front lawn. And Mac just like, I was like, I'll go over there. I think Nick follows her out there, right?
Yeah, they want to warn them.
They're not in time to warn them, though, at all.
No, Santa immediately starts attacking the carolers. Like Nick goes back, he like locks the door, makes sure that they're back in the house. And I think they show like Santa killing all of them. He like flings one in the air and she like hits her head on the banister.
Yeah, he like breaks one of their backs and neck snaps. So the three of them go through like a secret passage in like a boiler.
Yeah, it's like beyond the bunker. There's like a different path and leads to the garage.
I honestly at this point thought it was going to lead to an underground well.
Grandpa thought of everything.
He really did.
Demonic Santa goes in the house and he breaks down the bunker. They have to move on. And I think Grandfather, he's like super like serious. He's like, fetch me that can of Tenactin there. And Nicholas is like, Tenactin? What are you going to fun acting Tenactin the guy? And it had the garage key. So that's why they can get through the garage door.
Yes.
Again, Mac got the can. She's doing everything.
Yeah, Nicky just doesn't do like anything.
He doesn't do.
He doesn't do.
Once they're through, they get to the escape mobiles, as I like to call them.
They're snowmobiles.
We'll call them escape mobiles.
Call them whatever you want. I'm just telling you what it is.
Yeah, escape mobile. But Max won't start.
No, so Nicky starts his up right away. Makes
Yeah.
sense because he probably uses it. And hers doesn't start. She can't get it to start. And the problem is now Santa walks outside and he locks eyes with the grandfather. And he's like, you really let yourself go, Santa. And he mentions like, well, Mrs. Claus is one hell of a cook.
Yeah. So he is married in canon in this movie. And I like that.
Technically, yeah. Yes, he is. He's
No,
also not
there's-
fat. He's fucking ripped.
Yeah. I want to know if Mrs. Claus is also a demon from hell.
Probably.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah,
Not a good hairdresser, though.
exactly.
No, and Grandpa calls her out on that.
Yeah, I love that they're just having like casual banter before he kills him.
I also love, because this ends with Grandpa getting run over by a reindeer, and Goldberg literally goes, "Oh, Grandpa got run over by a reindeer."
That's funny.
Oh, it's amazing.
Anything you can take a pun from Christmas, they do it in this movie.
Exactly. In this conversation, Santa's like, I've waited a long time for this day. The grandfather's like, so you're done spreading joy and warming hearts? And he's like, I hate children. And he receives letters for centuries, but now he's hunting down every one of those brats. He's got a vendetta here, but he needs one thing to make the Dag of Mord complete. But unfortunately, the old man doesn't notice the bison coming behind him, and that sleigh that he's carrying runs him over.
Yes. So Mac hops on Nick's snowmobile and they start to ride off. Now Santa starts throwing present bombs at them.
Yeah, explosive presents. And there's one where I think he throws it like right on them. He's like, oh, nailed it. But they drive right through it.
Yep. He starts to like get the sleigh close to them, and Mac just decks the buffalo deer in the nose.
Oh, it's amazing because the bison like hits her. So you see like the holes are actually in her back.
Yeah.
From when it hit her. And then it tries to go for it again. And she just fucking decks it in the face. This thing's a hell deer.
Yeah, hell deer. And she just punches the hell deer.
She literally punched a deer from hell in the face. That's
I'm tell-
badass.
She's a boss. I love Mac. She gets shit done.
Her and Grandpa.
Yeah, her and Grandpa.
I like Grandpa's story. It's not a spoiler anymore. It's clearly revealed that the grandfather is the angel.
Yeah.
I mean, from that conversation, if you don't get it, I mean,
That's on you.
yeah, that's just your problem.
And then Mac and Nick drive through a shooting range, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
which
ski
is-
shooting, right?
Yeah, well, I took it as her dad's rifle club.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
Probably.
that's what they always allude to. Then they go into town square and they do like a scatter and they're like, run, Santa's coming. And Santa comes in, abducts the pastor who is currently dressed up as Santa.
Yeah, doesn't the deer hit him and like
He flips into the sleigh.
yeah, it flips right in the sleigh. It's so funny.
So instead of getting run over, he is now in the sleigh and Santa just punches him in the face and knocks him out.
I see you've met my hell deer, and that's when it's confirmed it's a hell deer, which is really a bison.
Yes. So with the pastor knocked out and now in with Santa, Nick and Mac get to the school. I think this is.
It is a school.
This whole scene is actually really funny too, because Nick's trying to break in. One, he tries to punch it with his hand, completely fails. Then he goes to grab like a garbage
trash
can, but
can, yeah.
it's chained. Then he goes to grab a bench. It's also chained to the floor. So Mac just takes her home and smashes the window.
Dude, he's just like he's kind of like just a bum. Like he just doesn't care about anything. He just can't do anything.
Yeah.
He's like useless.
And that's why I love this next part, because she's like, help me get through the window. And then she's like halfway in and she's like, push me. And he's like, he doesn't want to like touch her. And that's when she does the line, do I have to make the first move every time in this relationship? And she just takes his hands and puts it on her chest to like push her in.
Push her in, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything.
But like when they do break in, it sets off the alarm, which triggers Santa knowing they're at the school.
Exactly.
And I love that he makes a comment about that too. Like Nick's like, oh great, now he knows where we are, as if he wasn't going to do the exact same thing.
Literally thought the same exact thing. Like, what did they think was going to happen when they broke into the school? It was going to go off regardless. Like,
yeah, no.
Why point that out now?
Their plan is not foolproof here. This is also now that we notice they have the exploding nutcracker with them. That is revealed. So they're walking through the school halls. Santa shows up with this like Tom Clancy's glow in the dark candy cane. Like,
it's weird. He picks it up and then he drops it.
I think the studio, like the production crew, had a glow in the dark candy cane and didn't know how to get it into the film. So they're like, dude, just break it in the scene real quick for us. So it seems like we used it. I can't justify it any other way.
That's great.
That's fair. I have a question. When he gets into the school, does he go through the chimney? Because he climbs up the school. I don't know if the school has a fire, but
I'm going to say 100% he went through the chimney. He's Santa. He follows the rules of Christmas, like you said.
Yeah, that's true.
If anything, he made a chimney to go through.
I can see him doing that. It is Bill Goldberg, after all. We now learn that Santa can do the Hadouken.
He does the Hadouken out of his fucking mouth.
Yeah, because he just throws a fireball.
Does he throw it? I thought he spit it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
With his mouth. Shoots it out there.
Literally spitting fire.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, like, because he's killing all these crazy ways, and like he started spitting the fire, and I'm just like, fucking, why not?
Yeah,
like if you think it was like too over the top, I never thought that because I'm just like, fucking, why not? I mean, he's killing people with candy canes, he's kicking dogs, why not breathing fire? Right? Like it's so funny.
They now hide in a library. Santa has a Christmas ornament smoke bomb. Throws the smoke grenade at them, so they have to like run out of where they were hiding. And Santa was this book anything specific? I didn't see if it had a title.
Yeah, it was a Christmas Carol.
It was just a Christmas Carol,
yeah. And
it hits Nick directly in the forehead.
Yeah, he just freaking pegs him in the face. It was so funny. He didn't even have to turn around. He literally is walking out. He just turns around and gets pegged in the face with a freaking book.
It's like a magnet for Christmas things.
Yeah,
pretty much. So they end up in the school ice rink. A Christmas town, of course. There's an ice rink in the school.
They kind of slide to the other side of the rink, and then they kind of huddle together.
And it looks like we're finally going to get their kiss.
Their 16-year-old passion.
Yes, what their relationship has been building to. But we don't get that because we have a Zamboni now.
Why the fuck not? Demonic Santa's coming in with the Zamboni. Of course he is.
I loved it.
Yeah.
This was such a great movie that he's just like, you know what? I've been watching everything grow and the world change. I'm going to utilize this. I've always wanted to drive a Zamboni. I feel like that's what he thought, all he wanted.
He's like, I'm done with the sleigh, Rudolph. You guys are guiding me on the Zamboni.
I finally got to use my Zamboni after all these years. And now we get one of the best lines in the movie. I think it's Nick shines a flashlight in Santa's face. And he's like, I'm Santa, not fucking Dracula.
I literally was drinking hot chocolate and spit it all over my computer when I watched this. It's fucking hilarious.
Like,
great one-liner.
Like his delivery is just, it's always on point.
So good. But then Santa starts to chase them with the Zamboni. And like right when he like has them like against one of the rink walls and he's about to crush them, it just stops. And he looks down to see what's stopping it. And it's like one of those curling pucks.
Yeah, it's a curling puck.
It's glowing. It's resembling the rock that they were throwing back in the flashback.
It's an angelic curling puck. And you find out now it's the actual angel of Grandpa here to save them.
It's good. He's glowing, and then it kind of like the glow kind of evaporates when he kind of steps onto the ice rink.
He reveals here that like basically he was always the angel, and he gave up his angelic powers to be with the grandmother, right?
He was actually immortal. He gave up his powers and his immortality for an earthly woman.
Exactly. Which I always like when movies do that. Like, you know, the whole true love, you give up your immortal powers for it.
That's like a constant trope in like mythology, right? I feel like a lot of mythology that they do that. Yes. And it usually ends up really hurting them in all honesty.
It does. But now Santa's going to really hurt Nick because Santa's going to read Nick's Christmas letter to Santa, which is how Santa knew where to find them to begin with.
And I feel like this is so Nick, right? This character who just like fucks everything up and he's so useless and everything. Like,
I also love it though, because as he's reading like the letter that Nick wrote to Santa, Nick mentions all he really wants is an easy bake oven, which Nick had said he was gifted and didn't want. So it's like, come on,
fun.
man.
Yeah.
You asked for it.
I wonder if he's a good cook. He's probably a good cook.
I doubt it. He's not good at
I don't
anything.
think so. Well, he wanted an easy bake oven. I feel like he'd be a good cook.
But in the letter, he lists his home address. I guess because he's trying to send it to Santa, right?
Yeah.
He lists his home address, and that's how he knows. And just by that description, he knows like that's where the old man lives.
I don't really think the old man was trying to hide from him, though. So
the old man, he was doomsday prepping. He knew the day would come.
Well, I think he even mentions like he went all the way to hell, like to find him, right? Or to hide from him. But now we are going to have, it's 1,000-year in the making event, the Satan versus Angel, Demon versus Angel curling event.
This is one for the ages. This is bigger than the Olympics. This is way bigger than Mayweather, Pacquiao. This is bigger than Yankees, Red Sox. This is bigger than Lakers, Celtics back in the day. This is the Angel Yulson against Demon Santa.
Yes.
Round 2.
So this time, the Angel is going to have to go first. Santa ain't going first this time. And just like last time, he is on point. Gets the curling puck right to the edge of the hole.
And Santa's turn now. And Santa's getting ready. He's dusting off the bottom of the puck. He's getting ready. But he swiftly has a change of thought and slides the old man Yulson down the ice and into the hellhole. Whenever they like pan to the hellhole,
it screams.
Just screaming bodies getting tortured in hell.
It's like the Jin's lamp in Wishmaster.
Yes. So Santa's now going to shoot another fireball out of his mouth. But this time, Nick shoots the chestnut out and it goes into Santa's chest.
This is a classic invention of that crackpot psychotic grandfather of his. But I'll tell you what, that thing can fly.
Yeah.
And it actually just like singes him right in the chest, knocks him down.
So they go to the hellhole and they see that Paul is holding on.
By that metal. His metal is just in there.
In there. They help him. They get him out of the hole. But they realize that Santa has escaped on the Zamboni.
Yes, he has. He just breaks and they escape. He literally just like prison breaks out of the Zamboni, right?
He Zambonis through the wall.
I do have a please explain to me. I have to do it.
Yeah, of course. Let's hear it.
You did see how the old man slid down the hole face first, right?
How would he have done it from the angle?
How would he have held on?
Well, he wouldn't have because the hole is not big enough for him to flip his legs over to the other side.
Like if I'm thinking about it, he would have had to, and he wasn't even know he was going to get slid. So he'd have had to pick up that pin real quick and then like nick the top of it while front flipping into the hole.
Which is doable if the hole is big enough. But this hole was not big enough for his body where it could have went this way. Was that horizontal?
Yeah.
It just never would have worked.
But this is a comical movie, so it's like...
You let it slide.
Yeah, I had to bring it up, but I'm an asshole for doing it. So.
Nah, it's all right. You deduct a point from it on the final rating, which is fair. They are now all going to go after Santa because they can't have him escape. The problem is Grandpa can no longer follow them.
He tries to cross the barrier at the end of the school. He can't get out of the school.
Because he is actually dead now.
Yeah.
So he said, I can't come with you physically, but I'll be with you like kind of like spiritually, he says.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, I can't do it though.
He does say that.
He's like, I didn't raise no sissy, or was that the word?
Sally. I think he says Sally.
So specific. It's like, yeah, I didn't raise no Sally.
And then he vanishes, and he's like the halo. He's like, I'll be around.
Nick and Mac are now going to recruit her dad's gun club. There's this guy who talks through the voice box.
Yeah, if I could give Nick credit for one thing, it's convincing these men to get on his side because he does a good job. Because he's like, you guys want a flying buck on your wall? You want to go to your club and talk about flying buck? Not every day you get a flying buck on your wall.
All he had to do was mention killing something that they haven't killed before, and these people were going to be all in. As a hunter, I'm sure that's the sport of it. That's like if I went up to a bunch of hunters now and be like, I found Bigfoot, let's go hunt him. I'm sure I could get a few people to go.
Are you like one of those guys like Perfect Game or...
Oh, Most Dangerous Game?
Most Dangerous Game.
Oh, God.
Human.
Let's do human.
It just reminds me of fucking Vince Vaughn and Wedding Crashers when they're like doing the quail hunting. It's like, I don't want to hunt quail. It's the most dangerous game. Let's hunt a person.
Yeah, that's
oh
right.
my God.
So yeah, like Brian said, all these people instantly agree because now they got their chance to hunt a buck.
I'd be
A flying
terrified.
buck.
I'd be terrified of her dad and her friends and her brother.
Yeah. Because once the hell deer shows up and they're all taking shots at it, and then it doesn't do anything, and Nick's about to shoot it with a rifle, her dad blows it up with a fucking bazooka.
It's so fun because like Nick shoots at the same time. You're like, Nick got this kill, but it explodes, and you're like, the father's just like right over there with the fucking bazooka. He's like, got it.
And the best part of all of this is when the police show up, he's like, I have a permit for this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He has to convince them. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, you're not taking my bazooka away.
It's like, I got permits. I'll show you. They just have like all this artillery. I'm surprised a tank didn't come in at some point.
All this artillery set up, like bombing airships.
I mean, they left the tank home that day. They couldn't fit everybody in. It had to be fair. They just didn't bring it this time.
Maybe next time when there's more than one flying buck.
Because now Santa is impaled through a pole at this point from the blowing up of the bazooka. It's
What?
Pastor Timmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Santa had kept him in his sleigh this whole time. So he used Pastor Timmons as a decoy because now everyone thinks Pastor Timmons had been going around doing all these slayings, which is actually kind of clever for this movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, literally. I thought that too. I was like, why did he kill him yet?
It was clever for the movie to do that because now Mac and Nick obviously know it's actual Santa, but they're like, let's not ruin it for these people.
Mac was like, why didn't you tell them? And he's like, well, you know, it's over, and let's not, yeah, like you said, like, let's not ruin what's left of Christmas.
Yeah. Mac and Nick, though, they finally have their kiss.
Yeah, it's a kiss. I mean, it didn't really do much for it. It's a kiss, you know? It is what it is.
I'm just saying, their relationship's a focal point in the movie, so that's like their big kiss for the movie.
I thought it was all right. I wasn't upset with it.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't take it away. They had the kiss eventually, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So they saved it for the end, you know, it's the build up.
It's not quite the end yet.
No, well, yes, because now I love this last scene. We cut to an airport, and at this point, you're like, what could possibly come after all the end? The airline attendant is like,
She's like, so Mr. Satan. And
oh, no, yeah, she says Mr. Satan, and he's like, it's Shaitan.
you see this fucking the Sons of Anarchy fucking Santa Claus with his sunglasses and beard with his fucking biker jacket. It's Shaitan. And she's like, oh, like the hockey player. And I was thinking the same thing too. Because the dude on the, was he on Boston? I don't know where he is anymore.
Oh, there was a hockey player named that?
Oh, yeah.
I honestly didn't know
He
that.
played for the Bruins.
That's awesome. I don't follow hockey that much, so.
They find out like he's flying to the North Pole. I think it's like he's pulling into like Borneo Airport or
Yeah,
something.
they give it a name. I don't remember what the name is.
You only check it in one bag, and it's like this.
It's a
ginormous
giant sack, like a
red
Christmas sack.
Yeah, it's great.
And then after that, he just goes and sits in between these two women, and he's just like hulking into both of them.
Yeah, he strokes his biker beard, looks around, and the movie ends. And good stuff.
I love it.
Yeah. So I will go first with my review. So
Go for it.
This movie is really fun, obviously. I mean, we've been kind of fawning over it the whole entire review. I hope there's not a lot of hate my way because I did not give it a high review because there was a lot of the dialogue can get a little
Basic.
Yeah, basic, cringy. I don't think the acting's that great by the younger cast. I think the movie's like really comical and it's really funny and it really serves its purpose. Like I will definitely watch this like every year. Like this is like a low-key, excellent Christmas movie. Like not even if like you're into horror, but if you're into like action, I guess, and like I guess
It's funny.
it's not like a thriller, but there's a lot of kills. Like the
Yeah.
kills are good. So it's really funny. It's like a really good comedy horror, I guess you could say. I liked it. I gave it a 6 out of a 10 just because of those like little bit of holes and things like that. But
Yeah.
I could totally see this being like a 7 if it wasn't for like some of the cringy dialogue and maybe mostly Nicholas's fault, but
Yeah.
he's a younger actor, so I'll say. But it's really good. Definitely would watch it every year, and I definitely recommend it. It's one of the highlights of our holiday season, probably besides the first Black Christmas.
And the second. So I'll jump right in.
No.
I'll jump right in now. I thought this movie was very funny. I'm with Brian. Like the script wasn't great at times, but like it was never trying to be great. It was literally going for Christmas puns on Christmas puns, which they did really well with. I thought even like the little side characters that were only in there for one appearance, like the cops describing like the deaths in the form of Christmas tree. I thought that was all funny. Just like all the double meanings of things, like the police chief's name and stuff like that. I thought it was very funny. Yeah, the main guy, the Nick, was pretty trash throughout most of the movie. But it was made up for with like the grandpa, the girl Mac, the shopkeep owner who sold the smoking gum, who is definitely from the movie Friday, and I'm making that canon. I enjoyed all of that. So I'm not going to go much higher than you. I'm just giving this movie a 7 out of 10. I think it's a movie. I've actually now technically watched this last Christmas and this Christmas, and I can definitely see myself watching it again next Christmas.
Definitely.
It's like right there with like, you know, the Santa Claus or like Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas, of just movies I'm going to watch every Christmas season.
Oh, totally. Kirk Cameron, classic.
So to you, Jen.
I actually also gave this movie a 7 out of 10. Like, obviously there was holes. Some dialogue was cringy. It wasn't like grade A acting, but this movie kept me laughing the entire time. I just really enjoyed it. And I wasn't even laughing because it was a bad movie. I was just laughing because it kept me so entertained. And I very much enjoyed this movie. So I'll give it a solid 7. I'd watch again.
One more thing I want to mention, just to also say like why I gave this movie a 7. The opening scene alone gives it an automatic 2 points. Like,
It was great.
It's like, you know what you're fucking getting immediately, and it does not let off the gas, because the kills, not only are they clever, they're funny. Like, the comedy horror element is perfect here. Not only it's clever, like the way they die, and like the characters are so like quirky. Like, you have the conniving pastor, and you have like this gun club.
A movie that does it better than this is the same sense of they make the kills comedic to the characters is Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah,
where like each kill is comedic portrayed with how the character is.
I can't wait to watch that.
That movie is excellent.
That is like one of the best comedy horror movies there is, like bar none. Like for me,
it's without a doubt a top 3 comedy horror.
Honestly, this isn't the argument of like being like a top 20 comedy horror movie.
100%. 100%.
Oh, of course.
But like, because we love that genre and we've done so many movies already in comedy horror, and I think we're probably going to keep doing it because it's such a cool blend and it's definitely growing. Like, the genre is definitely growing. I would say for me, Cabin in the Woods is my favorite.
Yes.
But like Tucker and Dale is probably like the next one.
Yeah, it's like that.
Such
and
a
like,
good one.
You consider Shaun of the Dead
definitely
comedy horror or just comedy?
No, it's comedy horror.
Comedy horror.
Because
1000%.
I'm going to say Shaun of the Dead would be my number 2, and then Tucker and Dale would be 3. Cabin in the Woods literally is like one of my favorite movies. So it's always going to be number 1.
Shaun of the Dead's my number 1.
Shaun of the Dead's so good.
I would say Shaun of the Dead is the one that like really like started that genre.
Yes.
That was like that big bang of that genre.
The funny thing is, Shaun of the Dead isn't even my favorite of their movies, because I think Hot Fuzz is their best movie they've ever made. But that's not a horror at all. So
it's a good one. They're both great. They're both great movies.
Yes.
There's no doubt. Like, they're
all
both
those guys are still working too. They just made Truth Seekers, which is on Amazon Prime. If anyone wants to go watch it, it's so good. I watched it in like 2 days only because I had something to do the first day.
Yeah, I got to eventually check that out.
I got to check that out too. I know
It's
you're telling
so
me about
good.
that.
I loved it. It was so well done. It's really short, only 8 episodes. I can't wait. I can't wait for season 2. It came out in November, and I already can't wait for season 2.
This is our last Necronomicon of the year.
This is our last Necronomicon of 2020. It's been a fucking awesome year, and we've been doing this for, I'm trying to think, like,
We started May 1st was our first episode.
so we've been doing this for 8 months. It's amazing. And next year we know it's gonna be fucking amazing. We have such great shit planned for like at least the first 3 months. We have great guests coming on. But before we even touch on that, let's elect someone into the Necro.
Yeah. Who are we interested in adding to our Necronomicon? We have a variety of people today.
There's literally so many good ones, even in the first scene. But I think for me, it is the pastor, because he kind of like set that little twist at the end to know that this can continue. Because the whole idea is the kid now, Nick, is going to take up the mantle of his crackpot grandfather, because he's going to be like the next crackpot. That's the doomsday. But like, I don't know how it's going to work though, because he's not an angel. So you can only do it. Like, this whole thing, like, it happens. So I that kind of like didn't really like make too much sense. But in any case, that's like his thing now. And Santa's he's going to be gearing up to do this again. So I'm going to go with the pastor, because it kind of sets the cool twist ending at the end.
Yeah, for me, it's either the pastor or the hell deer.
Oh, it's true that we killed the hell deer.
Because hell deer was awesome.
Bazookaed.
Yeah, and it was just blown up with a bazooka. And I just love the scene after where the guy's got to say he has like a permit for this bazooka. Now, if we don't go Hell Deer, that's completely fine with me. I'm 100% in for the pastor, but the Hell Deer is my number one right now.
I don't have a preference. I'm good with anyone from this film because I just loved everything. So I'm gonna need both of you to flip a coin.
You know what we should do? Let's flip the necro coin.
What's
With a necro
that?
coin?
Regular coin.
Okay.
I just
Well, what we could do is if we want to keep it people, let's put the pastor in. So we don't start doing animals.
I think we elected that it has to just be alive.
That's true. Okay. So we'll flip a coin.
Flip a coin. Flip the necro coin.
Is the Hell Deer not considered alive?
No, it is.
Oh, because it's from hell.
Oh, well,
But-
actually, they did attach it to their car after they shot it down. So I guess, yeah.
It is dead. All right, Brian, I will let you call it.
Tails.
It is heads. And as
It was hell deer?
it is Hell
All
Deer
right,
now.
Hell Deer.
But as we've done each time, you can make honorable mention to Pastor Timmons.
I will. All right, Hell Deer, you are in our Book of the Dead. But before I shut the book, Shane, any last words?
Yes. Hell Deer, you are by far one of the coolest demonic animals I have ever seen. You were a giant bison, and how often does a movie have a giant bison? Not often at all. Your kill count is up there with Santa's. You had at least 3 kills of your own. So for that, we want to honor you in our Necronomicon.
And on our wall.
Yes. So that wraps up the final podcast's holiday season.
And 2020.
Yes. Our next episode will be coming out in 2021, which hopefully will be a better year.
I can only hope so. The way things are looking, I don't know. But you know, the only positive takeaway gets you to stay home and watch more horror movies.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, because it kind of sucks.
Yeah, binge our favorites.
Binge our favorites. And please, like, our email address is thefinalpodcast@yahoo.com. Please shoot us recommendations, like anything. Or you could just even DM us, comment. We have a Twitter and Facebook account too. So please get at us, and we'll definitely listen to your recommendations. But like I said, for the first couple of months, we've got some awesome stuff planned. And I know next week we have Chris Ortiz from Boy Blue on, and we're super excited about that. Great band, such a great singer. I can't wait to have him on. It's going to be super exciting. We're doing a sick movie. It came out, I think, 2019? One of the better horror movies that came out in 2019.
Yeah, very recent.
Yes. We are reviewing Us.
Jordan Peele's follow-up to Get Out, which people argue may even be better. We'll see. Check out our review. You'll find out.
It's going to be a really, really good one. Like Brian said, I'm really looking forward to having Chris on the podcast. It's going to be a great episode.
For now, have a happy new year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Have a happy new year. We will see you in 2021. We are the final podcast signing off, and we will see you next year in the underground tunnel system filled with bunnies in red jumpsuits. So if you haven't already, please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at The Final Pod Ever. Follow us on Instagram at The Final Podcast. And if you haven't, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple. It really, really helps Apple, push out our content and recommend us to other people to listen to.
Happy
Not
New
at all.
Year.
Happy New Year.
You filthy animals. A little Home Alone reference.